So let's talk about what I've done with this new iMac. I've done some video editing, photo editing, some video and conference calls. I used it for a music video cover. I've used it on a coffee table, in the kitchen, on the floor. Oh, but there's actually one thing that I haven't done yet that I've been wanting to try. I'm officially using my iMac outdoors and I am absolutely loving this. Like, I could get used to this. This is nice. I wasn't even gonna get a webcam clip, but I just had to because look at the trees, the flowers, everything is so colorful and vibrant. You can even hear the little birdies chirping. Man, I feel like I gotta get some like video calls out here and take some conference calls. People will be like, dang, are you actually outside? Because it almost looks fake right now, but this is real life. This is real life and I am loving it. Now let's take it indoors on the floor because as much as I love that outdoor experience, my spring allergies cannot handle that right now. So here we are in my sister's bedroom. This is actually where we shot that music cover that I was talking about, and we'll get into more details about that. But right now, I just want to appreciate how amazing M1 Life has been. When it comes to performance, this pretty much checks all the boxes for me. Like I mentioned in my unboxing, the specs inside of this machine are basically identical to the M1 MacBook Pro that I've been using. 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU, 16 gigs of memory. The only difference is that storage size, 512 on here versus a terabyte on my MacBook Pro. So if I were to change anything about my experience thus far, I would bump up that storage to 2 terabytes for $600 more, because even though I do use a lot of external storage, it's nice to have a little more flexibility on the machine itself, especially when doing things like video editing. 512 just doesn't cut it for most of my video edits, and I did forget to plug in my SSD recently and I lost a whole bunch of Final Cut progress. A bunch of my cuts and edits were gone because there wasn't enough space on the machine. So I would change that, but that is a configuration thing, has nothing to do with performance itself. And even when I was maxing out the storage like that and those storage warnings started popping up, Final Cut was still running pretty smooth. I don't think I heard the fans at all throughout the edit or throughout my entire time using this machine for that matter. And if I have heard them, I haven't noticed them. So A+ with that. I am continuously blown away with these M1 Macs. I said it with the MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, Mac Mini, and now this 24-inch iMac, because we gotta remember these are the entry-level machines. This is replacing the 21-inch iMac. Of course, there's things that would be cool to see on a computer like this, like an XDR display for HDR editing, maybe some more ports, but a Pro machine is not the target here. That's definitely something you gotta keep in mind when purchasing one of these. And as excited as I am for the next iteration of the MacBook Pros and the bigger version of this, what you get here, especially like the base price one for $12.99, like that all-in-one package is such an amazing deal. It's something that I would recommend to pretty much anyone. I can see it being used so well in any family home for your mom, dad, sister, brother, grandparents, kids, or even in a professional setting for a creator like myself. It's so well optimized all around for everyone, and that's really all thanks to that M1 chip. Okay, now let's talk design for a sec, because this thing is beautiful. It comes in 7 colors. It's so freaking thin, and even after using it for 3 weeks, I still appreciate how thin and light it is. It's less than 10 pounds. And that was one of the things that amazed me the most when I first opened it up. And since then, I've kind of just been loving it here on my coffee table. It's actually been here more than it's been on my desk. Like, I really love this spot for it. I've been moving it around the house a little bit, but this is my go-to. I've been editing here. I've been chilling, watching some Netflix here. I even shot a podcast here with Brian Tong where we talked even more about these new iMacs. So definitely check that out if you haven't. I'll link it down below as well. But yeah, this is my go-to spot, like iMac coffee table all day long. I know a lot of people have been hating on the iconic chin, but that's what makes an iMac an iMac. No, but for real, it really doesn't bother me, and I just love that that's what makes this computer so thin, because it houses so much of the computer in that chin, and that contrast with like the color there and the white bezel, it just looks so beautiful to me. I also want to take a second to appreciate the matching accessories with those color accents everywhere, even down to the power cables. It's the little things, my friends. I will say though, I haven't used this Magic Mouse even once, but at least it looks pretty. I'm probably just gonna keep it out because it matches everything so nicely. And while we're talking accessories, that Ethernet port on the power brick now was such an amazing move for cable management. It keeps everything nice and neat under your desk with less cables coming out of the computer. And this is something that you get with the $14.99 plus price option, but I've been loving it when I have to upload large files on spotty Wi-Fi. It's been nice to have that port nearby. And another accessory bonus that I've been loving is that Touch ID button on the Magic Keyboard. If you're going to be using this as a family computer, being able to switch users via Touch ID is so seamless. I do wish with the purple one specifically that the back color popped a little more. And while we're talking about the back in terms of hardware, it'd be nice if it were a little less smudgy because, as you know now, I carry this thing all over the place. So if it were a little less fingerprints back there, that'd be nice. But apart from that, I love the look of this thing. It makes such a statement in every room that it's in. Apart from being a great piece of tech, it definitely looks the part. So let's talk about that webcam because you've seen it throughout this video, and honestly is one of the features that I've been using the most on this new machine. Obviously having a webcam isn't anything new, but this one is improved. It is a 1080p webcam, which is a step up from most machines, and thanks to the ISP on M1, it uses computational video to enhance image quality, so things like auto exposure, better face detection, enhanced highlight details, local tone mapping, all of that is packed into that little tiny camera to make a better looking image. If you're somebody who does a lot of video calls, whether it's for work or catching up with family, whoever you're talking to is definitely gonna notice a crisper look to your video. So it's been great for that, but I decided to push it to its limits a little and use it for a music video cover for my sister, Gabby. If you haven't checked that out, I'll link it here and down below. But that was a lot of fun because not only did we use the webcam, but we also used the onboard mic to shoot an entire live cover. We literally went into QuickTime Player, started a new movie recording, and just rolled with it. The live aspect to all of that was probably the coolest thing for me to see because as the webcam is recording and she's watching herself sing, she's also recording her vocals with the mic at the same exact time. And we then extracted that audio and brought it into Logic and mixed it a little bit. And you're definitely gonna get more quality out of something like a studio mic, but it's pretty crazy that the mic on this machine sounds that crisp and clear.
Happy and healthy, not me. If you ever care to ask, good for you, you look better than without me, baby. God, I wish that I...
So like I said before, definitely check it out if you haven't because it's one of my favorite things that I've ever worked on, and it'd be cool to see what other artists will do with it in terms of music production and video making. Now, I did ask you guys to ask me some questions on Twitter, so let's take a look at those. How do you find the new placement of the headphone jack? And now with no SD card slot, what hub/dongle are you using? Now that new placement does contribute to the computer being so thin because if it were anywhere else, like on the back, it would add thickness to it since the computer itself is literally thinner than an audio jack, which is crazy. So no complaints there. I'm not mad about it. And no SD card slot. Yeah, not gonna lie. Would have been nice to see one on here, but I've been dongle life for quite a bit now. And for the past year almost, I've been using the Sony CF Express Type A/SD card reader. Take that pretty much everywhere I go with me these days, so the dongle life continues. Would you recommend the new iMacs for the day-to-day working from home small business owner? For example, sending multiple emails a day, creating social media graphics for multiple clients, running several CRM software services, etc. Yes, yes, and yes, I feel like this was made for you, especially since you're working from home. This is such a great desktop setup option at an amazing value. These M1 Macs are just able to handle so much more than those Intel ones. So doing all that day-to-day work, emails, some graphic work in there, all of that is just gonna be so smooth on here, especially since a lot of apps are M1 optimized now. So I feel like you're gonna love this. Do you miss the Apple logo in the front? What do you think about the design? Well, you already know how I feel about the design. I think it is beautiful, but that Apple logo, I know there's a lot of mixed feelings with that one, but I feel like I like it more in the back because I've always wanted to do a desk setup where the desk is in the middle of the room. So when you walk into the room, the first thing you see is the back of the computer, and that logo on the back would just complete that look. And also the front just looks so much cleaner that way, especially with the white bezel now. I feel like that logo in the front would have been a little too busy, so I like it in the back. What's your favorite color iMac? Do you prefer the pops of color or do you like a more classic look? Well, I actually went to the Apple store recently and I saw all the colors in display there, and I feel like I still like the purple one the most. Green is definitely a close second, but that purple is just so beautiful. I do love and appreciate all the colors though, and a more classic look. That's why I'm glad that they kept a silver one, like more neutral look, because I feel like that's a classic one now. And in a way, all these colors are kind of classic because it's a little throwback to the G3 iMacs. So I like the colors. I'm so happy that Apple went with colors this year. How is it editing pictures, especially since I know how much you like taking pictures? Also, what program do you use when editing photos? Well, you're not wrong there. I do like taking and editing photos, and I've been doing that quite a bit on here actually. I always go into Lightroom and then into Photoshop after sometimes, but it's been great, especially since all those Adobe apps are M1 optimized, so it handles everything that I do perfectly. And also it's been nice to edit on a larger screen again because I've gotten so used to editing either on my iPhone or on the 13-inch MacBook Pro, so this has been amazing for editing photos. So clearly I've been having so much fun with this computer. It's definitely redefined the way that I use a desktop setup because there's just so much freedom here. And that's exactly what Apple intended with this one. I feel like it's meant to shine the most in a home setting, making it the ultimate hub station for getting any day-to-day work done. But it's been fun to push beyond that boundary a little. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. Have you been living the new iMac life? And if you are, I need to know, what color do you get it in? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and hasta luego.